All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something super powerful, a way to completely transform your memory. And it's all based on some really fascinating stuff about how our brains are actually wired. Okay, so let's just jump right in with this quote. You're not forgetful, but no one has ever told you that, seriously. Think about that for a second. That feeling you get that you just have a bad memory, it's not a personal flaw. It's not something wrong with you. It's really just a misunderstanding of how your mind is built, and honestly, we're here to completely take that idea apart. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're in a presentation and your mind just goes blank. Or you finish a book and can't remember the main points. And what's the first thing we do? We blame ourselves. Ugh, I have such a bad memory. But what if the problem isn't you at all? What if it's the methods you were taught? It's like you were handed the wrong instruction manual for your own brain. So here's the thing. We tend to think of our memory like a computer's hard drive, just this big empty space where we file away facts. But that's just completely wrong. I mean, if it were true, we'd remember everything perfectly, right? The real problem isn't that you're out of storage space. It's that you're trying to use a filing system that your brain literally wasn't designed for. It just doesn't work that way. So to get to the solution, we first have to understand what our brain's real operating system is. This isn't about forcing your brain to be better. It's about learning to speak its native language. Okay, so think about it like this. For thousands and thousands of years, our brain's number one job was simple: keep us alive. It's a survival machine. And because of that, it's hardwired to remember very specific things. Things like intense emotions, that berry made me sick, or major threats, there's a tiger in that cave. And crucially, for what we're talking about today, it's amazing at remembering places. Knowing your way around was a core survival skill. And that is exactly why abstract stuff, like a list of bullet points on a slide or some dry facts from a textbook, just seems to vanish. It slips right through your fingers. From your brain's point of view, that information is just noise. It's disorganized, it has no context, no address. So your brain just says, nope, not important, and tosses it out. But here's the flip side. Here's what your brain is amazing at. It is a master of navigating space. Seriously, think about it right now. I bet you can walk through your childhood home in your mind, right? Or an apartment you lived in years ago. You know exactly where the kitchen is, where the windows are. That's because your brain is a master architect. Okay, this is a huge mindset shift. Forgetting isn't a flaw. It's not a bug in your system. Forgetting is actually a feature. Your brain is constantly cleaning house, actively throwing out information that it can't place on its mental map. It's not being lazy, it's being ruthlessly efficient. The only problem is, sometimes it throws out stuff that we actually wanted to keep. So, okay, if our brain is this incredible machine built for space and location, how do we use that? How can we actually leverage that to our advantage? Well, the solution is this really cool ancient technique that's been rediscovered, and it works perfectly with our brain's natural operating system. And this is not some new productivity hack you'd find on a blog. This thing has a serious history. It's called the method of Loci, or, the memory palace. We're talking ancient Greece. The legend is that a poet named Simonides figured it out after a building collapsed, identifying people by where they were sitting. Roman orators like Cicero used it to memorize epic speeches. Monks in the Middle Ages used it for religious texts. It was a standard tool. The only reason we kind of forgot about it is because we started outsourcing our memory to paper and screens. It never stopped working. And this is the absolute key to the whole thing. The name Memory Palace sounds intimidating, right? Like you have to build this huge thing from scratch. But you don't. That would be exhausting. The whole point is to use a mental map that already exists in your head, a blueprint your brain knows by heart. All right, so how do we actually do this? Let's get practical. How can you build one right now? It is way simpler than it sounds, trust me. You definitely don't need to be a grand architect. Step 1, just pick a place you know like the back of your hand. Your own house, your apartment, that's the perfect place to start. Why? Because you can walk through it in your mind's eye with absolutely zero effort. Okay, so here are the 4 basic steps. First, pick that familiar place. Second, you set a one-way route through it, like always go from the front door to the hallway to the living room. Same order every time. Third, pick out a few big, obvious objects along that route. These are your anchor points: the front door, that weird painting, the sofa. And finally, the fun part. You create these wild, crazy images for the things you want to remember. The key here is consistency. Same route, same anchors. The route gives you the order, and the anchors are like mental hooks where you hang the information. Now, this next part is maybe the most important step of all. Your brain does not remember boring. It just doesn't. So when you place something you want to remember at one of your anchor points, don't just picture it sitting there. That's boring. You have to make it interact with the spot in some ridiculous, absurd way. Make it funny, make it weird, even a little disturbing. Your brain is literally designed to ignore the normal and flag the unusual. So you have to make your memories unusual. So for example, let's say you need to remember the word strategy. That's a super abstract concept, right? So instead of trying to remember the word, you go to your first anchor point, say your sofa, and you imagine a giant, chaotic game of chess being played on it by a bunch of squirrels throwing the pieces around. See, that's the language your brain understands. It's vivid, it's concrete, and yeah, it's a little insane, and that's why it works. Okay, so let's bring this all home with what I think is the biggest takeaway from all of this. This isn't some magic trick. It's a fundamental shift in how you think about and work with your own memory. What you're really doing is shifting from fighting against your brain, trying to force feed it abstract data that it just wants to throw out, to actually cooperating with it. You're speaking its language. You're finally using the right filing system. And that really is the ultimate mindset shift here. It's not about having a good memory or a bad memory anymore. It's about knowing the path to get the information back. Once you have a path, you can't really get lost, can you? The memory palace, that's your path. So when you think about it, the memory palace isn't just a cool trick, it's a whole new relationship with your own mind. It's more effective, it's way less stressful, and it actually turns remembering from a chore into a kind of creative game. So what's stopping you? Why not try it today? Just pick a room, set a simple path, and place one totally wild memory. Just see what happens.